as we tell our stories that this, the Loma Prieta was not the big one. It was really not even a medium-sized one. And the one we're expecting now, they're saying 8.0. As the numbers go up on the Richter scale, 8 isn't one more than 7, it's 10 times more than 7. And that one was on an obscure fault that they didn't even know existed. They named it Loma Prieta after a mountain that's out there, I guess, and we're 60 miles from here. When the one goes off on the Hayward Fault, which is where they're expecting it, it's going to go right through the middle of Oakland, Berkeley, Hayward, the whole thing.
Highway 13.
Yeah,
Highway
and
13.
And it's going to be a whole lot worse. So we really need to, all of us, be thinking that, have our little jump kit in the house that's got some water and a change of clothes and a flashlight and so forth, and teach our children what to do and have a meeting place and so forth to meet with our families, and have an out-of-state number to call as our switchboard because when disasters happen, even though we all have cell phones now, that'll be worse than landlines actually, because that'll be more congested than the landlines. So we need to kind of seriously prepare and not just take the attitude, oh, well, we got through that one, we'll get through this one. Because we have the opportunity to make a big difference in what happens by how much we're prepared.
One of the young man's reference to the freeway jogged my memory about something. The gentleman had asked me how long did it take us or me to get over it, and I said a couple of weeks. Well, I'm now remembering that for 6 months after the earthquake, I was afraid to drive on the freeways where there were overpasses above it and all of that sort of thing. And the few times that I had to do it, I really had an anxiety attack. And I remember one time, this is like 6 months later, my office was on 27th Street, my house was on 61st Street, so I used to just go under the overpass and get up onto Highway 24 and go up and get off on Claremont, and you have to go under all this stuff that's flying over your head. And I got on the freeway, and then I realized I don't do this anymore. I go up Telegraph Avenue. I don't get on this freeway, but now I'm on the freeway. And totally unconsciously, by the time I came out the other end of all those overpasses, I was going 100 miles an hour. I mean, my paranoia just like pedal to the metal.
that cyberstructure was freaky. I used to try to avoid it at all costs. I knew there was going to be traffic on it because you just felt so unstable, you know?
Yeah. These huge concrete slabs above your head, and it just stimulates your paranoia.
And the wind blew hard, it kind of leaned a little bit. I don't know if there's anybody else who wants to come up to the microphone, but there are people who might want to get their reminiscence videotaped the other way. So maybe you guys we can sort of disperse and hang out or whatever, and these people can avoid getting their parking tickets from the parking lot. And I really appreciate your coming and participating, and your stories were fabulous.
Are you the guy I would give a fire story to?
No, sure.
I did one for the fire too.
Okay, well then we'll see in a couple of years. Huh?
I bet you got a tale to tell about the fire.
There's just whenever things like this happen, there's this weird irony. Well, I worked at the paper at the Tribune at the time, and we had this photographer. He was a young Chinese American photographer who was part of the team. He didn't get up there in time to get the good shots, but he was one of the guys who climbed up on the cyberstructure just right after it collapsed, because we were actually there. Our staff was there before the law enforcement got to the cyberstructure, And I don't want to talk about some of the paid rescue people, but we were pretty shocked at how slow some of the responses were. But anyway, they climbed up. The photographers climbed up on the deck, and there was some CHP in there. You've seen the pictures. They won the Pulitzer Prize. But anyway, Harold was he was the guy, but he wasn't as athletic as his colleague. So he got up to the top, and but he didn't get the good shots because by the time he got up there, they'd already cordoned off the thing because he had such a difficult time climbing up the broken down thing. So he decides he's going to move to. He gets a new job at the Long Beach Press Telegraph. This is, I don't know when, several years later, and three days after he works there, there's a freeway collapse in that earthquake, the Northridge or whatever it was. There's so many down there that I can't remember. So he climbs up on the thing, and now he knows, how to get. You got to be there quick. You got to be the first one up, and he knows how to climb up broken down freeway on ramp things. So all of a sudden, we're sitting in the newsroom, and our ticker comes, our wire photo machine, and it's. It's coming all the time, but this was a special call. It rings, and then you get a photo over it that it's obviously sent direct. So the first thing he did is he took his pictures and ran down to the paper, developed them, and we got the first print because he made sure that he wired it directly to us to show us that this time he was there. But it's just kind of these things about these earthquakes. It's just like the same kind of things happen over and over again, and as much as we prepare for them, it seems like the big jobs sometimes get neglected. So when I was down in